And today he's going to be talking about or making us reflect on what does it all mean. So this is a very deep question. Where do we put our happiness? Why do we put it there? If it's different for everybody. So he'll get into that in a few minutes, in a few seconds. And he also wrote an article about this on LinkedIn, which I shared a few weeks ago. I'll share it again. If you're interested, you can check that out after Frank's session.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? And I am having one of those days with technical difficulties. I have no idea why my computer is not cooperating with me at all whatsoever. So nothing that was working yesterday before I went to bed is working now.
Gremlins.
It's gremlins. I don't know. Maybe I did it when I was sleeping. I have no idea. I tested it all. I said, great. I'll be able to go right in. And then here we are now, and I am fumbling around like a novice.
Frank,
So,
this is for you to practice what you preach, buddy.
well, that's exactly what it is. I'm just going to roll with it, baby. So what does it all mean? So, it's a question that I think comes into everybody's mind at one point in their life or at multiple times in their life. I know myself, there have been multiple times when I'm doing something and I go, what does this all mean? And it's not only the small stuff, but it's the big stuff. What am I doing this for? Why do I have a 14-year-old daughter? Why am I carting her around all over the place and not taking care of me? Why am I helping out my friend? To me, what does it all mean? Why am I doing this all? And from what I have found out, and in my studies and trying to understand it more, is can you see your goal, or is your goal clouded? So are you in the fog, or do you have a clear vision for where you want to get to? And sometimes we have to go through life with that unclear vision. You have to, you just have to move forward. So with that, I started developing strategies on how to not bump into things and get hurt. We're going to make mistakes. It's fine. Like Annika, she wrote that article the other day. And to me, I remember this. Now I'm going to say this, and that quote that I put up there for Annika, which there are no mistakes in life, there's just more data, right?
Yeah.
That was from a Benny Hill show. Now I'm sure, does everybody remember Benny Hill was on? It was the British comedian that was it was very sexist, I would say. Very sexist. So, but that was a quote that I remember from that show. That was, there's never any mistakes in life, there's more data. Now, I remember that from when I was 20. Now, 25 years later, I'm actually bringing it into play. I'm actually using it now more than I ever used it before. So one of the key things for me is, what would you say if I told you that all the information you've received from when you were 2 to approximately 20 was misleading? Would everybody agree, disagree? Show of hands in the chat room or raise your hand there. So the question that I came into understanding is what I'm doing what I want to do, or is it what everybody else says I want to do so that I can find happiness? Now let's look at happiness. What is happiness? From my studies, happiness is when you take something from the outside and you try to bring it in to have your mind release chemicals to make you feel good. Sometimes you can't find that happiness because you're placing it on a material or a person that's on the outside. It could be anything from the outside. Now, there's a difference between happiness and joy. Joy is a feeling that you get from the inside and you actually give it out. And there's an unending amount of joy within us for us to give out, because you give it out freely. You know, people want to take it. Now, that's another part of our psyche. When we give out joy and people don't want it, we take it personally. Well, why don't you want my joy? Huh? What does it matter? If that person does not want your joy, then let them live their miserable life. It's really not up to me, you know. That's just kind of the app that I was going to with this. So, would everybody agree that you were misled in certain aspects of your life during your upbringing? Would everybody agree to that? That somehow, can I get a thumbs up by everybody? At least I can change my view here. All right, beautiful. So with that, what do we do to change that? How do we change that feeling of looking for happiness on all those things that maybe will come, maybe won't come? Maybe they'll be there, maybe they won't be there, to us doing something and being able to give joy out. Now, to me, that's the question. And this is something that I think Sherry has touched on, Bill has touched. I think everybody here has touched on this in one way or the other, is when you do what you love, it's not work. When you're passionate about something, it's very easy to give that away. So how do we maintain that distance in between? Because it's that distance between other people and myself on how I maintain that. And that's by understanding, now I go back to the Stoics, that it is my mind, my reasoned mind, that understands what is truly going on. So, let me just here. Has everybody ever been disappointed on things that you thought were going to bring you happiness or joy, and you found out later on that it wasn't? Everybody's got that idea, right? So,
oh yeah.
To find joy, what I first had to do is I had to find somebody as a mentor. Another popular topic that's been going through the Elevate feed. Now, whether that mentor is alive, dead, from 3,000 years ago to today, to somebody that's living, finding a mentor. But what am I looking for in that mentor? And I'll use an example that I had a conversation with my 14-year-old daughter when she was 12. She's a ski racer. We're up at one of the mountains. We're doing some racing. And I noticed that all the other 12-year-old boys are now coming up, and 13-year-old boys and 14-year-old boys are now coming up and paying attention to my daughter. And I go, oh, hold on. How do I handle this? What do I do? How do I look at this? And what should I do about this? So, well, I have to give her some type of instruction, right? Some type. And it would be better to be in the moment than later on. So after that was all done, and then we were having lunch and we're sitting down, and I said, so what's going on with all the boys coming up to you and talking? She goes, they're stupid, they're silly, they're immature. You know, in the back of my mind, I'm going, good, great. All right, that keeps me off for another year or two. So, but then I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do you know the difference between reputation and character? And she says, well, yeah, character is, who you are and what you do. I says, and what's reputation? She says, well, reputation is what other people say about you. And I said, perfect. So I'm going to ask you to do a favor for me. And she says, well, what's that, Dad? I said, when these boys are coming up and, talking to you and everything, when you decide to find one and pick a boyfriend, I said, please pick one with good character, not with a good reputation. And that happened about 3 years ago. So from now, it's amazing how that little conversation has leaked from her life into my life, because now I have to be the example. I have to show her that the people that I'm meeting have good character and not a good reputation. I didn't realize the trap I was setting myself in, but I did. But what an amazing concept. So now I am truly looking for people with character. Now, one of the things I will say is everybody that's in this meeting and everybody that's in Elevate has good character. So that's a very positive thing for me to know that everybody I am involved with has. So, and I don't want to take up too much time. So what are the main basis points that we can use within our own mind? Now, my basis points or everything goes back to Stoic philosophy. So I'm going to read some quotes to you that are 2,000 years old. Now, these quotes for me set a tone of where I should be. So let me just bring them up on the screen. Actually, what I will do is I am going to try some technical stuff here and try and share my screen. This should be fun.
Oh, good luck.
Whoa, did that
So
happen?
far.
Did that
Yes.
actually happen? Wow.
It happened.
All right. Well, then something is working correctly. So this is the quote that I use in my, excuse my long arm in your picture. There we go. This is the quote that I use to basis my life of tranquility on. I live in New York City. I live up in New Hampshire. I live in metropolises. With that, I need to be able to find tranquility no matter where I am. So this is the quote that reminds me that I should find tranquility, which is that people seek retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains. You are very much in the habit of yearning for those things, those same things, but this is entirely the trait of a base person. When you can at any moment find such a retreat within yourself. For nowhere can you find a more peaceful and less busy retreat than in your own soul, especially if on close inspection it is filled with ease, which I say is nothing more than being well ordered. Treat yourself and be renewed. Now, to me, that has a lot of meaning. Now, there's a lot of things in there that I can identify with where I've been before. Have I been a base person? Oh, yeah, of course I have. When I was chasing all of those material things, I was a very base person. Is my soul very well ordered? Well, I think from what happened today, apparently not, because I had a lot of technical difficulties. So from that quote, what I found is the next quote. Trying to find different techniques to get to this. In the mind of a disciplined and pure man, you will find no sign of infection, no running sores, no wounds that have not healed, meaning that we are going to get hurt. There are things that are going to bother us, but if we have the proper tools and techniques, we can heal them. It will not be this man's fate quite unfulfilled, like the actor who fails to complete his lines and walks off stage before the play is ended. What is more, there is nothing obscure or conceited about him. He neither depends on others, nor is afraid to ask for help. He answers to no man, and for what he is and for what he does, he hides nothing. That last bit, that last line, for me, is my definition of humility. He neither depends on others, nor is afraid to ask for help. Now, if I could have asked any of you guys to help me this morning with my technical issues, and trust me, if Rob Sophia was on this call, I would have been asking him, Rob, all right, what did I do wrong? He answers to no man for who he is and for what he does. Just that is an amazing concept, that you answer to no man. That doesn't mean you don't have to answer. It just means you answer to no man or woman for that fact. And he hides nothing. Everything is in plain sight, in the open. That to me is a concept or an area that where I strive to get to. Not hiding anything, not doing anything, being a person that just walks tall and through and quiet. So with that, I am going to end, and we are going to turn it over, because these are all quotes from Marcus Aurelius. And then this is just a very simple quote from Marcus Aurelius, because all of the things that I spoke about take one main thing: action. I can make a ton of decisions. If I don't take action, none of those decisions will come to bear whatever fruit they might have. So this is the quote that I kind of lead my day with. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be, just be one. So I will close there and then go back over to our, now stop sharing, and there we go.
Thank you so much, Frank, for that. I really did identify with what you were saying in the beginning, because I was misled by my parents from a very young age about where I should put my happiness, where I should, what I should do or what I should achieve to be fulfilled. And once I fulfilled those things, once I reached those goals, it was like, that's what I was working so hard for. Like, I just didn't feel that real happiness or that joy. So it is a journey that you have to like start by your own and really find like what really makes you happy, what really makes you fulfilled in life. So thank you very much for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
Does anybody else have comments? Did you feel identified with
Yeah,
anything
folks,
that Frank
I would
said?
appreciate it. I got to fine tune this thing. Get in there, dig it in. This way I can correct what I need to correct, except for my technical issues. Technical issues have to be worked out on me. But anything of the meat and potatoes, please rip it up.
Hey, Frank, I love your passion, right? I love your passion. You've got such passion about what you're talking about. You can feel your passion as you're speaking. When you go on to when you put your slide up, make sure that it's in, you don't want to put it up until it's in the actual, what's it called, people? When you put it in so that we don't see your slide things.
Slideshow mode.
Thank you. Slideshow mode. Yes, slideshow mode. Put it in slideshow mode so that we can see that. I know you're working with it to do that better. The other thing I would say is just put a picture up on your slide with a small saying versus a large saying. So maybe just choose like one or like a few words, like the last slide you had where it just had a few words on it and a picture. And then with that, really dive into what that means. Give us a story, provide a story that you had about what that felt like, what it did. Really long quotes, a lot of people will get lost in them, right? Okay. They'll just lose themselves in it. What I love, again, passion, your really belief around it, your love for talking about it comes through. So, just like, just comes right out of your heart. So thank you for doing that. Yay.
Thank you, Sherry.
One thing I'd look at, Frank, is putting a clip from Gladiator in with your Marcus Aurelius stuff. Just a short clip, you know, just a bang, one of
I've
those
been
really
trying
loud
to
ones.
find that one that is very unique to it, because you know a lot of Gladiator is blood and guts, and it kind of can be overbearing. But I will. I'll find that, because that will go along with it. Perfect.
Michelle, do you have something to say?
Can I?
Yes.
Yes,
Hello,
you may.
Michelle. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you. So you don't need me to tell you how I relate to this stoicism stuff.
Oh, I know.
Frank and I connected earlier this year and had a nice chat, very nice chat about stoicism. But please, I agree with what the Sherry said, and your passion is obvious. Don't work on your passion. Just throw it all out. That's just fine. About the slides, go see a TED Talk that is entitled Death by PowerPoint.
Mhm.
It will give you a few tips. So that's one thing.
I will, but my idea is my PowerPoint. I wasn't planning on sharing it. I just did it so that, because I'm having problems reading the quotes or going through them. My point would be more to what Sherry said, would be to that last slide, just have that up there and that's it. Nothing else. No going through the slides or anything else. You know, as you guys have pointed out, my passion is more than enough. I can bring people in and take them out. I don't need to have slides to wow them.
And I don't want to take the stage, but I've been working a lot on how to present stuff and reading on, for instance, the TED Talk. They have a book about how to present, and according to who you are, some people are so nervous they need slides. Some people are not. You are not nervous. You are this outgoing people. Don't cut it by just reading something. No, you're all in. So that's something, and it's just my own little perspective. And I would add something as the last thing.
Mhm.
It would be worth asking a question, because I don't have the answer to that. But what is it you want people to do at the end of it? You're sharing a lot of stuff, but what do you want them to do with it? That's it. Thank you. But thanks again.
All right. Notes. Okay.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Frank left a comment, Frank Zachary. The less words on the screen, the better. Pictures work wonders. Sabrina, is there something that you would like to add?
Yes, I think I agree with what everybody has said so far. And Frank, you know, you're selling you and I want to buy you. That's literally what I want you to remember. The only other thing that I would say is that, you know, with your quick-witted speech pattern, you may want to slow down just a little bit and interject some pauses there, because what you're providing is really thoughtful information. But if you just put some pauses, maybe in between, even if you're referencing one quote that's a little longer, but just, you know, read the first sentence, pause. You know, read the next sentence, pause, and insert maybe some questions. But those thinking points, because of your energy and your passion, I think you'll have people hanging more onto your every word if you just put some pauses in there. But lovely presentation. Thank you. Oh, and Frank, bring food, because that helps too. Thanks.
Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us today. And I really hope everybody has a wonderful weekend with your families, with your loved ones. So I would see you guys next week.
It's a deal. Thank you.
Deal.
Okay, wonderful.
Sherry,
Bye-bye.
before you